To be honest, I'm very excited, but at the same time, I'm very nervous. But I'm gonna do my best. I hope you guys enjoy. Oh wait, I probably should get rid of starting soon. Boop. It's so... Oh wait, it's so large. It's too much. How do they get anything done? Oh wait, why is it... Oh, did I just skip it? Oh no, no, it's too much. How do they get anything done? Sensing doubt, shall we proceed with the directive, Amicus? I don't know. Are you sure they're level 5? Data for mission 3265193 indicates primate species with level 5 intelligence and... Understood, thank you. Hey Jay. Southern Hemisphere goes backwards because they're leaving DST. I guess when you like think it like that, it makes sense. Most recent data indicates that all uplift attempts failed. That figures. Why do we try to uplift here in the first place? Sensing doubt, shall we proceed? Name of the planet? Earth. Location of Romanus uplift? The city of Rome in the state of Italy. It's the probe there. It has arrived. Give me a visual. Zoom in. That doesn't look like Adastra at all. Reminder that uplift failed. Ruins of uplift attempts remain. Show me the ruins. Showing the Roman Forum. Sensing doubt. Shut up, please. What the hell are they even saying? That's not the language. It's all messed up. Sensing that creature there. They are called humans. You played Adastra before? I did play Adastra before. Get closer. And hey, Telmis. It's a human? Collecting data. He appears to be a young male human. Initiate landing sequence. Have you located the directive? Yes. Warning that full nexus analysis is Now please, we cannot waste time outside of the stretch drive. We won't see you. I'll probably cry still, Thomas. Don't worry. The only reason why I'm liking DST a lot this time around is because my daily build test meetings for work is an hour later because it's based in Japan time. Oh, I mean, good for you then. But also for the best sense in SFW. Yeah, I can't really show those on Twitch. So I'm not sure, you know, we'll figure it out while we go. Initiating landing sequence. Luckily, this game doesn't have like NSF scenes like left to right. Like they're pretty like spread apart, so I don't think it should ruin the experience if we don't see the NSFW part. It's hard to believe I'm actually here. After years of fantasizing about it, I'm in Rome. I've been bouncing around with my friends like an idiot all day. Yeah, I look like a total tourist, but this is what I've been saving up for the past 2 years. A whole semester in Rome with the study abroad program. All the conversations I've had with my parents about what a waste of money would be to evaporate from my brain as I take in the view. We only have a few hours, so we move from the Forum to the Palatine Hill, then finally to a nearby disco where I get just a little drunk. Before I know it, it's 2 in the morning and somehow my friends and I are able to stumble to a taxi that takes us back to our apartment. I walk unsteadily through the darkness, glad that I have the place to myself for now. Apparently my group was the first to arrive and my assigned flatmates won't be here for a few days at least. I open the door to my room and move my hand along the wall. I stumble in, then sit on my bed, bouncing happily for a moment. I think about going on up to the balcony, but I've been walking all day and it feels too nice to be sitting down. Plus, it might not be a great idea considering the state I'm in right now. Still, just knowing that the magic of the city just outside my window is going to make it hard to sleep. I sigh happily and look around my little room. I'm told that this is kinda big by the city standard. It's still a little bare since I just moved in today. I basically just dropped my suitcase next to the door before running out again. I glance at them, but I decided I'm too tired right now to unpack, even if my pajamas are in there. After Adastra, can you stream or at least once it's complete? I can help you one. Socially awkward. We'll see. I don't know. It's not done yet though. If it's not done yet, I probably would want to wait until the story is completely done. It's fine if I'm just laying on top of the covers. I'll get to it tomorrow. In the meantime, I just lay back, smiling in the afterglows of today's excitement. And tomorrow I get to see even more. Damn it, I need to calm down. No way am I gonna have the energy I'll need tomorrow if I'm up all night. I've got the whole semester. On top of that, school doesn't actually start for another 2 weeks. There's plenty of time. Just relax for now and enjoy it. With that though, in my head, I start to drift off. Something moves. I lay there in the dark, wondering if I dreamt it. I had been dreaming, even though I can't remember exactly what it was about. Something about a portal, maybe? I listened for a while, but there's no other sound, just the occasional soft whoosh of a car passing by outside my balcony. I shoved around a little. The suffocating humidity is making the sheets stick to my skin, and I wonder if maybe there's a fan in the closet. I finally sit up in the bed, realizing that there's no way I'm going to fall back to sleep like this. I could at least try sliding open the balcony door, though I'm not sure that will do me any good. Worth a try, I guess. I groggily slid out of bed and tried to slide the glass door open, but it doesn't budge. I struggle for a few more seconds before sighing and moving towards the door to find the light switch. My feet slide along the semi-cool wooden floor, which feels great, while my hands stretch out in front of me searching for the wall. Right then, I remember that I was woken up by a noise, and I imagined some intruder standing there in the dark, waiting for me to bump into him. Feeling the hair stands up on the back of my neck, I quicken my pace and find the wall, fumbling around until I quickly glance around the room, relieved that it's empty. My parents had warned me about the crime rate here. While the city is technically safe in terms of murder, robberies, and muggings are apparently pretty common. I had shrugged it off at the time, but now that I'm alone, I make my way to the balcony looking for the locks before finally seeing that there's a latch near the top of the door. I unhook it and slowly slit the door open. I'm disappointed to find that the air wafting from the outside is almost as stuffy as the air inside. Still, I take the moment to stare out the lights of the cities for a while. Even though I'm more interested in the ruins, the city itself is undeniably beautiful. Nothing like my hometown. That's when I notice that there's a strange smell in the air, like burning rubber. I stick my head out a bit further, looking around for the source, but I see nothing. Maybe that's normal here. I look back at the clock on the wall. 4 a.m. I sigh and shuffle back to the bed, only realizing that I left the lights on once I've already fallen back first onto the covers. I sigh and will myself to get up, but the tiredness has returned and the heavy humidity is almost like a warm blanket pressing down on me. I close my eyes. I'll get up and turn it off in a second. Just need to rest my eyes for a bit. Just for a bit. Something moves again, and there's another smell in the air. A good smell this time. Something floral. It reminds me of lavender. And that's when something hard and sharp presses into my left eye socket just above the eye. It doesn't really hurt, but it shocks me awake. Who this? It leans over me, something shiny in its grip, which is pulling back from my head. Ah! I kick out with both feet, hitting the thing leaning over me in its body. Idabo! It lets out a surprised grunt, stumbling back and falling on its rear, while I scramble back on my bed, pressing myself against the wall. Almost immediately it scrambles back up, revealing its massive build and its masculine shape. He adjusts his capes and smooths down his fur before rubbing at his chest, giving me an odd look. Then he fixes his smile back on his face. Ave. I stare. That's all I can do is stare. He stares back at me for a moment, then clears his throat. Ave, hello. The space above my left eye throbs, and it sounds like I'm hearing two things at once from the same voice. Potis Intelligary? Do you understand? The third best himbo? Again, the bizarre twitching in my eye, in my brain, and hearing two things at once. I feel like I'm going to be sick. The room shifts and swirls a bit, then slowly starts to settle again. The twitching in my head turns into a dull throb. I'm having a nightmare. Do you understand me? I stare at him and he stares back. Calm, I don't know if this chip is working. What? The creature raises his hand to his head, rubbing at it. Well, he can speak and is translating. Can you understand me? When am I going to wake up? He keeps staring at me and automatically I respond to him. Yes? Oh, good. Seems it's finally working now. They take a moment to adjust to the whole brain. I struggle to keep up with his words. I'm still hearing what he's saying. It's almost Italian with the inflections and the rolling R's, but at the same time, it's definitely not Italian. Still, I can understand what he's saying, like he's speaking my own language at the same time. It makes it hard to concentrate. What is your name? My name is Kenny. I think I'll use my name. The main character's like original name, his name is Marco, but I'll make it Kenny. So it feels like I'm there. So I feel like it's my space adventure. But it's gonna make a lot of the scenes kind of awkward though. Maybe I should have not used my name. His expectant looks almost forces the answer out of my mouth. Kenny. Kenny, beautiful. I am Amicus. He said my name is beautiful. Oh my gosh. The confusing double language I was hearing is starting to fade, and now only my own language comes from his mouth. It's odd, the words not quite matching up with his lips. What's even distracting are the massive canines that continues to flash behind those lips. I need to get the hell out of here. Dream or not, I don't like the look of the teeth and the claws of this thing. Oh, it's the lingua having trouble again. I don't respond, instead glancing at the door just to the right and behind this Amicus. He frowns. I think Amicus means partner in like Latin, which is fitting. Calm, you told me that they're level 5. I can't even speak with it. It takes me a moment to realize he's not talking to me. I hear a soft chattering coming from the wolf, like someone's talking to him from a phone, but I can't see anything. Yeah, well, he kicked me in the chest. Amicus rubs at his chest with a frown. More muffled speaking. Of course I didn't. He just kicked me. He looked at me and he has no idea. More muffled speaking interrupts him. Oh, wait, what? Are you serious? Now he looks pissed and I press myself harder against the wall, trying to work up the courage to make a break for the door. How? Wait, so you're always offering me opinion on my mood, but you couldn't offer that? More muffled babbling, but the wolf thing interrupts it with a snarl. Well, what the hell do I do now? His lips are drawn back, and now I get to have a real good view of those canines. I stare wide-eyed at him, and that's when he seems to notice me again. He readjusts his expression to a smile, but I can still see a fang poking out. Hey, listen. Something about the way he acts, his expressions, demeanor. He's so human. Could you come with me outside for a quick moment? For some reason, the realization of his humanness makes me absolutely positive that this is a dream. Yeah, this can't be real. Furries aren't real. This must be a character from a game or a movie that I've seen. I shake my head slowly at him. Please? I just stare, still waiting to wake up. I've had dreams where I couldn't wake up before. This one's just one of those. I remember reading somewhere that if you aren't sure you're dreaming, you can plug your nose. If you can still breathe, then it's definitely a dream. But I remain frozen against the wall. The massive wolf sighs. Then his paw suddenly moves to his waist. I only have a moment to see some sort of device with multicolored lights before he moves and my entire body seizes up and things go black. He tastes me. Ah. My first meeting with the wolf and I got tased. My body feels strangely numb. It's like when I wake up with a dead leg or arm, except right now it's my entire body. The only thing I can really feel is a sharp, cold pain behind and above my left eye. I try to wiggle my fingers and hands, wondering if I'm having some sort of sleep paralysis. Sleep paralysis is a bitch. They move, at least I think they do. Everything's so dark. Am I still in the apartment? Usually there's a little bit of light coming from the balcony because of the street lamps, but everything is pitch black. I start to feel a little panicky, both from the numb feelings and also the idea that I might have gone blind somehow. I try to remember what happened last. Did I go out somewhere? Maybe a club? The disco? Did I take something? I start to push myself up, and that's when I feel something soft under my hands and something very hard under it, like concrete. I'm definitely not in a bed right now. Now I really am starting to panic, wondering if I've been kidnapped. I get on my hands and knees, thankful that at least the numb feeling is going away. We ain't. I'm also relieved to find out I'm not blind. I see a soft glow of light outlining that roughly the shape of a door in front of me. I open my mouth about to call out before I force it shut again. I have no idea where I am or how I got here, but I'm not liking the signs. My head throbs a little and I close my eyes tight, trying to steady my breathing, listening to my heart pound. I definitely got back to my apartment and I remember going to bed, and then I remember... My eyes fly open as I remember that wolf creature staring at me with those blue eyes and those teeth. Oh my god, there's no way, there's no fucking way. I open my eyes again and stare at the soft light, trying to listen. There's a constant hum of some kind, a whirling of a large machine. It's gentle and almost soothing, but it makes me think that I'm in some sort of vehicle. But I don't feel anything, no bumps or turns. I slowly crawl towards the door, listening as hard as I can for voices or movement, anything that might tell me someone's nearby. As I get closer to the door, I do hear something, a type of beeping and chirping. I stay in the position for what I feels like a solid 15 minutes, not hearing anything more. I think about trying to open the door, but I realize that might not be a great idea. I still don't know if that wolf is real. No, I know he isn't real. What's more likely is that someone slipped something into my drink and I hallucinated everything. I had laughed off my parents' warning that tourists are vulnerable in Rome, but now that doesn't seem so crazy. Someone had drugged me, followed me to my apartment, then kidnapped me. Oh hey, Sacrificial J. Thanks for the cat jam. Let me get a quick sip. Okay. I need something. How are you today, Jay? I need something, a weapon, before I try opening the door. I feel like I'm in a closet of some kind, so there's probably something here that I can use. Slowly I get on my knees and start moving forward, waving my hands out in front of me. If I can find the shells, then I can feel around for something solid then. I'm air. What does that mean? My hand sweeps what feels like a box, and what follows is a clang of metal as something falls to the floor. I cringe, squeezing my eyes shut as the sound echoes around the room I'm in. I kneel there in a complete silence, stunned. Got shot on in Valo all day? Wait, what are we talking about? Valorant? Wait. Ah, Zeripuri-san, thank you so much for the follow. Do you know Adastra? I'm surprised I got someone new to watch. Yes, Kenny, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm hip, I'm Coral. I know all the young people's slangs. I'm like, what do you mean she got shat on Valo? But I'm glad you're having fun. That's when the light spills over my body, followed by a large shadow. Oh hey, you're awake. Did you know he was awake? Yes, for approximately 0.2 hours. I top frag though. Let's go. I swear to the gods, why are you so useless? I sit there not having turned around yet, but the shadow gets bigger and I feel him looming over me. I get a whiff of lavender. Finally, I slowly turn my head and see the wolf. Where's your top frag? I'm not sure what that means, but it's somewhere there. Somewhere out there in space. He towers over me, his broad muscle pointed down so that he can look me right in the eye. While his size and general demeanor are intimidating, his eyes are warm and friendly. That doesn't really matter to me right now, as I realized I hadn't been dreaming or hallucinating earlier, or the dream/hallucination is ongoing. The wolf moves towards me and I immediately scoot back until the shells behind me dig into my spine. I vaguely notice that the metal thing that I knocked over earlier. It's a polygon-shaped thing with a long cord running out of it. Remember, the human doesn't know about the galaxias. Proceed with caution. The wolf's ears flick before he visibly tried to right his expression to a smile. Hello, humans. Sorry, I mean Kenny, right? Again, I get caught up in watching the movement of his mouth counter to what I'm hearing in my brain. Then I notice that he's waiting, watching me intently. I open my mouth and close it, then nod. The wolf still stares at me, seeming not to understand. Right? The silence stretches on until I finally force myself to speak. Yes. It comes out in barely a whisper. Great, so now that we understand that, I can tell you that I'm from the star Stella Vita, very far from here. The wolf sets his paws far apart, his eyes wide as he emphasizes the distance. He's talking to me in the way one might to a very dumb 2-year-old. I live on a moon called Adastra. Do you know what a moon is? You live on what's called a planet. I stare at him for a moment, almost offended despite my continuing shock. Amicus smiles gently. A moon is a large... I know what a moon is. How was your day today? I slept really bad today. It's like one of those sleeps, like I went to bed early yesterday, and I woke up at like 8, I guess. I got like at least 8 hours, I believe. But you know those kind of sleep when it feels like you just haven't slept? Like, in theory, you were in bed for 8 hours, but because I kept like waking up in the middle of the night, like constantly, it didn't feel like I was asleep for 8 hours. Like, that was my day pretty much. I kind of feel a little bit tired, but I hope you're having a better day. I know what a moon is. Amicus blinks at me. We have one. My words feel automatic. Actually, everything feels like it's an autopilot right now. Oh, well, I didn't know that. That's great. There's an awkward silence as the two of us stare at each other. The initial fear is wearing off. I feel that if this alien is mean to hurt me, he would have done it by now. Yeah, that's pretty much what happened to me. It kind of sucks because like last night I was kind of worried if I can't sleep well, so I even took like sleeping pills, and yet I just feel like my body just doesn't, like, I feel like sleeping pills never work for me. I don't know why, but because that was like the worst sleep I ever had, at least for now. Amicus rubs his paws together nervously. Are you hungry? He motions at his mouth, then rubs his stomach while licking his lips. Again, gesturing expressions that I have no trouble interpreting. The only alien thing about him is his appearance. I don't know. The wolf frowns, almost looking frustrated. His slow speech gets even slower. Well, why don't we give it a try then? I guess my answer doesn't exactly make me seem intelligent, but I don't know how else to respond. Why don't you come out onto the deck with me? I'll make something. Amicus gives an exaggerated "come on" gesture with both paws as he walks backwards, straight into the wall as he misses the door. Ow! Yeah, let's go, human. He rubs the back of his head with a wince before turning and walking out the door. I stare at the open door for a moment before slowly getting up and following him, walking over a brown shag rug, the soft thing I've been laying on. That's when I'm standing in the middle of what looks like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's small and cramped, but the amount of unfamiliar glowing technology is almost overwhelming. Glass panel covers almost every inch of the walls around me, displaying images and characters that I can't even come close to understanding. Straight ahead of me are large windows looking out into the blackness dotted with specks of light. Specks of light. I'm in a spaceship. Where the hell is he taking me? Amicus is over to my right side, messing with what I can only describe as a large espresso machine growing out of the side of the spaceship. He's holding a cup under a nozzle, ducking down a little to stare at the opening. He notices me looking. Heh, takes a while to warm up. I have to warn you though, it's not very good, but it's probably better than most what you eat on your planet, I mean. Just as he's talking, a very thick globe of brown sludge shoots out of the nozzle, half of it's missing the cup. Ah, damn it. The wolf hastily moves the cup to catch the rest of it while reaching over with his other paw to snatch up a rag from a hook on the side of the machine. Sorry, this thing is near broken. Do you want to sit down? He nods his head over at one of the 2 seats in front of the window. Just don't touch any of the bright lights, okay? I make my way over to the front of the deck, still waiting to wake up. I stand beside the seat, reaching out to touch the soft red bristles of the helmet and the wings on the side. This only enforces the feeling that I'm hallucinating or dreaming. There's a strange Roman influence to Amicus and the ship, one that's almost cartoonish. Has my obsession over Rome gone too far? Touch the bright lights. I can just imagine myself in some Italian hospital right now, babbling about Roman wolf aliens. Go on and sit. Amicus plants himself heavily in the seat next to mine, holding 2 cups of what looks like brown sludge. He holds one out to me. I take it gingerly before sitting down. Looking into the cup, the food has the consistency and the look of half-melted chocolate ice cream. Ew. Except it's warm and smells like dirt, like literal mud. I scrunch my nose up at it, which Amicus notices. Haha, yeah, it's not the best. I actually had some good food that I brought along with me, but I ate it all before I got here. The wolf shrugs and settles excitedly into his seat. So tell me where you are from. What's life like on Earth? It's okay. Okay, well, what's your occupation? I'm a student. Oh, what discipline? I try to adjust to the surreal feelings of talking to this wolf. I don't know yet. I was looking into history, Greek and Roman studies. That seems confusing to him for some reason. Do you have an emperor? What's he like? I catch myself staring at his mouth again, and the weird way his mouth is unsynced with his words. No. Then how? I interrupt him. Why isn't your mouth matching up with the sound you're making? Eh? Even with the spaceship and the aliens around me, it's the weird distortion of feelings that I'm watching a dubbed movie that has me most unsettled. Oh! Amicus points a finger at me to a spot just above my left eye. I gave you a lingua. It helps you understand me. I stare at him, but he doesn't offer anything more. How? Oh, well, it sort of attaches to the language center in the brain. It's very smart. It learns from the host's brain and is able to interpret the 8 major galaxies' language for them. And how does it do that? Well, our brains are structured in similar ways, at least among sapiens, so it works almost universally. Honestly, it's parental tech, so I'm not fully sure of how it works. None of us do, but it does work. Amicus continues to look at me, clearly concerned about something. But I'm concerned too. How did you get it into my brain? You ask a lot of questions. I stare at him. Well, this is kind of new to me. Should I not be asking questions? It's fine, I just never had a child ask me questions, really. Anyway, there's a device that inserts it. I was lucky to find one left over on the ship. Inserts it? How did he insert it into me? I rubbed the spot between my eye and my eye socket. The skin slightly tender. Does it hurt? That should wear off in a few hours. I stare at Amicus for a few moments, then down into my cup, feeling a bit sick. Staring at the brown mush isn't helping. Need help with that? You can eat it like this. He dips his muzzle down towards his own cup. He sticks out a long, thick, pink tongue, pressing it into the sludge before cupping it and bringing it back into his mouth. He pulls a bit of a face before smiling. Not terrible. Then he looks at me a bit closer. Wait, you do have a tongue, right? I stare back at him for a moment before setting the cup to the side on the armrest. What are you doing? Huh? What is all this? Where are you taking me? At this point, I'm starting to get over the shock. I'm also starting to get annoyed at this alien's complete disregards for basically everything to do with me. You kidnapped me, you left me in a closet, you're feeding me what looks like shit, and now you're telling me you jabbed something into my brain? Amicus actually flinches at that. Does it still hurt? I can give you a pain manager. I don't really want anything from you. What is all this? The wolf just stares at me wide-eyed. It's like he didn't even consider me being capable of being upset. Hey, it's okay. You kidnapped me. I feel myself getting more panicked, both from the realization of what happened and what's currently happening. No, well, I mean, you like tased me or something. What? You electrocuted me. No, it's not electricity. That doesn't make it better. For a brief moment, I think about overpowering this wolf, somehow turning the ship around if I can figure it out. Sensing hostile intent. Proceed with caution, Amicus. Amicus doesn't say anything, and I see him gripping into his cup tightly. I get the odd feeling that he didn't expect me to point these things out to him. Did he think that I was that unintelligent? I can tell he's calculating something in his head right now, and that makes me nervous. Maybe I should have just played dumb. We stare at each other for a while, until Amicus' steely gazes forces me to look away. I choose to glance up at the ceiling, deciding to change the subject and give myself time to just think. What is that thing? Amicus clears his throat. What? That voice. I nod at the ceiling in the vague direction where I heard the sound come from. The thing that can apparently sense my hostile intent. Oh. Amicus looks at the ceiling too. That's Computitrum, or Com. He's pretty annoying, aren't you, Com? I can provide diagnostic on the ship, on the mood and the competence of crewmates on. Thank you, Com. Anyways, he's not actually a sapient. He's a program that can process language and spit out information stored in a database. Amicus pauses. I'm sorry, you probably don't understand what I'm talking about. I think I do. Artificial intelligence, maybe? I reach instinctively for the pockets of my jeans, but I remember that I left my phone on the bedside table. Amicus' eyes widen once again, and again I wonder if I should be keeping my mouth shut. Revealing how much I know seems to be some sort of trigger for him. Ah, so have you been in space before? No. I look out the window staring at the stars. Okay, have your people ever been to space? No. No, we haven't. Do you know what atoms are? Nuclear energy, maybe? No. Based on Nexus analysis on Earth, these statements appears to be misleading, Amicus. Why is my keyboard locked? I glance at the ceiling again, realizing now that I've got a constant spy above me. I look back at Amicus and we stare at each other in silence for a long moment. Then I realize how absurd all this is. What do you want with me? Amicus looks away, seeming to think. Well, it's part of a program on my planet to introduce new aliens to the galaxis. What is that? It's the greater galactic civilization, Kenny. It's a gradual strategy to slowly introduce Earth to the idea of other sapiens. Oh, is this happening to other humans? Is your character a little baby or something? No, I think my character's supposed to be in college. But he's just confused with everything that's going on, so yes. I contemplate this for a moment. What's that beeping noise? Shit. Is that picking up on the mic? There's a car outside like beeping and bopping. He's done for a collision. I contemplate this for a moment. And when you're done showing me, you'll take me back? There's a momentary pause I don't like very much. Yes. I imagine that I heard these statements appears to be misleading from calm right now if you're on my side. I look into the cup of brown sludge again. Well, to be honest, I'm not all that interested, so could you just take me back now? I don't hear any beeps. Oh, you didn't? That's good. Amicus stares at me. Hey, Kimmy, are you done with work? I've got school and the family. They don't know where I am right now. I mean, don't you want to see the galaxy? I really think that it would be amazing for someone like you that hasn't seen it before. I'm eating at home. Are you eating and listening to me while you eat, Ubu? The wolf starts fidgeting with his paws, not looking at me, choosing to stare out the window. He isn't wrong. It would be pretty cool to see the galaxy, but not with someone like him who kidnapped me, taking me somewhere for a reason that he isn't telling me. No, I actually want to go home right now. Amicus stares at me for a full 10 seconds before looking away. How about we wait until we get to my home, then we can discuss it. No, take me back. I feel my heart hammering in my chest as I realize that this alien is definitely not going to take me back. I stand up and Amicus flinches and brings his paws up to his chest as if I'm going to attack him. He's so silly. We stay like that for a moment. I'm breathing hard, staring down at the wolves while Amicus stares back at me wide-eyed. Finally, the Amicus lets out a big sigh, looking back out the window. Okay, I'm going to take you back. I'm sorry. I watch him for a moment, looking for a sign of sincerity, but he still won't look at me. Really? Yes, but it's complicated. We're all on a trajectory for Adastra. It'll take time for us to turn around. I keep watching him, not sure what to do. I feel like he's lying, but if he's there, if he is saying there's really nothing I can do about it, I guess is what they want to say. I'm stuck here with him, probably millions of miles from Earth, with no way of knowing how to get back. So I just stand there, arms folded tightly against my chest, staring at the window too. That's when I see a star brighter than all the others, almost too bright to look at. Is that the sun? The what? Is that my star? My planet's star? Amicus squints in the direction I'm looking in. Oh yeah, that's your star. I can't remember the name we have for it. It's a bunch of numbers. How far away are we? Not far. We could get back there in no time. Amicus stands up next to me, seeming to stretch. So, are we going back? Yeah, just gotta do it in a way that doesn't waste too much energy. I still have to get back to Adastra after all. I stare in the direction of the sun again, my gaze slightly averted from the piercing dot. How long has it been since I was kidnapped? I wonder if my friends have alerted the school or even authorities. How am I going to explain this? There's a movement to my right, and just as I'm turning to look, something cold presses into the side of my neck. A familiar sensation of my muscle tightening up makes me slam it back into the seat. At the same time, my mind seems to wipe clean. Empty. Suddenly, I'm surrounded by a soft and warm gray fur. I feel like a limp blanket as I'm flopped around, my muscle like jelly. It's not a bad feeling. In fact, I kind of feel great. I would smile if my facial muscles were working. I'm laid on the ground and then my arms are pushed behind me. Something starts to wind around my wrist. Still detecting consciousness from the human. Insufficient and charge used. I used it on the lowest settings. I think I hit him with too much last time. Looks like he's mostly out anyways though. I hear ragged breathing in my ears as my arms are jerked around. Damn it, he's more sapient than any child I've known. Sensing distress, would you like a stress tablet, Amicus? Maybe even as intelligent as a wolf. Well, almost. If they've been to space, then they're far past level 5. I try to open my eyes, but the eyelids are too heavy to lift. Maybe level 10? My brain isn't really working either. I can't seem to focus. Padded footsteps move around my head. Then I hear what sounds like an alarm, followed by something I can't really explain. My mind startles as the deep voice starts up again. What do I do now? I've messed this up about as badly as I could have. Solutions, calm? Solutions. Consider returning the human back to Earth. If no evidence is left behind, it is unlikely his statement would be believed. Too late for that since I just activated the stress drive. Yes, that was inadvisable. Yeah, well, I don't know how advanced his species is. If he was being misleading, then that means they're spacefaring. They could have patrols in their star systems. I wanted to get out as soon as possible. You know you could have offered a solution before I did that. You set me to minimal interruptions. Next solution. Consider termination of the human and incineration of the remains through the radiation of the stress drive. Edible! No! Next solution. Consider taking the human to Adastra and use him as your pet as you originally planned. From there, you may pass him off as less sapient. It is unlikely you would be questioned. I don't know, he's already despises me after what I just did. Amicus, alternative solution points to a higher likelihood that the monitors will be alerted to your actions. Proceed with caution. Calm, please wipe the last 10 minutes of conversation and go into sleep mode until I wake you. I need to think. Wiping memory, entering sleep mode. A few more moments of silence go by and I feel a wave of fatigue. I start to fall asleep. The padded footsteps moves closer to me and I feel a presence looming. There's something heavy and soft rests on my forearm. I'm sorry. This was a mistake. Then I'm dragged for a short while before I come to rest on something shaggy and soft. Then silence. Then sleep. What's going on? I float in the void of nothingness. Not even blackness. Nothingness. The feeling of having no sense of self. The boundaries of my being having no boundaries. It makes me panic. I'm still here, but nothing else exists. Am I all there is? I feel the borders of my sanity starts to bend and break. It only lasts a moment before something massive and all-encompassing grabs a hold of me. Instantly, I'm comforted, calmed by a sense of complete security. All is as it should be. I crack my eyes open to a gray ceiling and familiar hum of the ship in my ear. My back aches as I feel my hand bunch up underneath me, making me arch uncomfortably. The numbness isn't there like last time. Instead, it just feels like I woke up from a deep sleep. I can tell I'm back in the utility closet, laying on the shag rag, but the door is open, allowing me to actually see. Slowly, I turn my head just a bit, and I'm able to vaguely make out the small deck that I've just been in. I see Amicus to the far right, both his paws resting on the counter with the food dispenser, looking down at a panel. He got his back at me at an angle, one foot crossed behind the others, his tail swishing back and forth while he mumbles to himself. As close as I can, I turn over to my side, trying not to let out a groan of relief as my back and hands are relieved the pressure. I grimace through the pain of having blood rush back into my fingers. That's when I realize that my hands are tied at the wrist behind my back with a cord of some kind. The end of it dangles to the fingers and it feels smooth and metallic. Some slow movement with my hands tell me immediately that they haven't been tied well. My left hand is fairly secure, but the loop around my right is loose. I get the feeling that if I pull hard enough, that I might be able to slip it, and just like that, it comes out. My shoulder jerks when I do it, and I freeze, waiting to see if Amicus might notice. He goes on staring down at the panel, leaning forward to rest his chin on my fist. Cassius is probably going to figure it out right away. I know it. Amicus sighs and hunches over further. I let out a breath I'm holding as quietly as I can before I start looking around, moving my head as little as possible. On the shelves are a variety of different objects that I can't identify. They all have a heavy, industrial look to them, and I know that I could use any of them as a weapon. There's a long, pipe-like object at the end of the bottom shelf, and I imagine hefting that in both hands, bringing the end of it down on the top of that stupid wolf's. Amicus suddenly shrinks up and I stiffen, closing my eyes. I hear the wolf move, pathing in my direction. That continues until there's a pause and I can feel his presence standing in the doorway. I crack open an eye, just a tiny bit to see what he might be doing. I get a vague image of him standing over me, looking down. Hello, human Kenny? I don't move and I breathe as evenly as I can. Hello? He must know I'm awake. I can feel myself shaking from all the tension. Damn it. Amicus mumbles to himself as he turns away, moving back towards the deck. That's when I realize that this might be my best chance to make my move. He's not going to take me back. He knocked me out twice, and that's enough reason to do what I'm about to do. As quietly as I can, I roll over and reach out for the metal pipe. By some miracle, I manage not to clang it against the metal rack it's on. Quietly, I bring it up in both hands as I stand. It's heavy, a lot heavier than I expected, but I can manage it. I focus on the retreating wolf's back and move at a half run, my bare feet allowing me to quietly pad towards him. Despite that, I see his ears come up at the last second, his body starting to shift in a way that tells me that he's about to turn around, and I swing. What happened next is something I can't explain. I aim for his head, wanting to cause as much damage as possible, not really thinking about the consequences of what might happen if I seriously injured or even kill him. But for some inexplicable reason, the trajectory of my swing suddenly dips down, as if caused by some invisible magnet, making me miss Amicus's head. The strange force doesn't lessen the power of my swing though, and it carries to land with a hard, meaty thump into the side of the wolf's thick neck. Ah! Amicus cringes, both paws moving to cover the back and the side of his neck, dropping into a crouch. He looks back at me, his eyes wide and wild, an expression that sends a shot of fear into my body. I suddenly see him as a wild animal, a wild, scared and a very angry animal. I raise the pipe again over my head to bring down on the head I just missed, but Amicus is fast. He leaps up from the crouch in an upward and forward motion straight into my chest. I wheeze, but I manage to stay on my feet as the wolf carries me backwards to slam against the wall of the deck. Amicus snarls into my face, teeth bared, one eye wincing shut. I struggle, but there's no way he can handle... there's no way. He handles me like a rag doll, like a toy. This must be how someone feels during a wild animal attack, completely helpless, suddenly wondering why evolution left us so damn defenseless. What the hell are you doing? Ugh! Amicus yells at me as he lets go of one of my wrists to put a paw to his neck, cringing as he does. Damn it! I struggle with my freed hand, grabbing Amicus's face and trying to gouge his eyes and nose. The wolf immediately let go of his neck and grab the pipe. He wrenches away, but I try to hold on almost get lifted off my feet. He swings it one way, then violently in another direction, throwing me to the floor of the deck, and I lose my grip on my weapon. Amicus advances on me as I lay flat on my back, staring up at him wide-eyed, realizing how big of a mistake I've made thinking I could handle a 7-foot-tall, muscle-bound wolf. I wonder if he's going to come at me with the pipe, but he throws it to the side. He starts to lean over me, still snarling. You little prick, this time I'll bind you up to your shoulders. How does that sound? He grabs up one of my arms, trying to pull me up, but I go limp. Get up, otherwise I'll make you. He grabs my other arm. That's when I notice his wide stance over me, and a particular bulge between his legs. I hardly think about it. Drawing back one foot, I launch as hard as I can into his crotch. I feel a distinctly soft form gets flattened under my foot as it gets trapped between the force of my kick and the substantial weight of Amicus's body. If there was any doubt in my mind that this male alien would be affected any differently compared to a male human, his reaction quashed it. Amicus freezes, eyes wide, hunching over me even further while his thighs snap together, trapping my foot. We both stay frozen for an awkward length of time as I stare at what I just done. Hey, Biggie! How are you today, Biggie? Are you feeling better? I saw you were playing like Roller Coaster Tycoon yesterday. I feel the best I have all week. Oh, that's good. So you're not sick anymore? Eat your biggie. Hydrate and stuff. I don't think so. I've been taking medicine. That's good. Any good news, Biggie? Any updates? Let me stretch. If Biggie is feeling better, I must feel better for him. What? Still waiting for my answer from my interview last week. Yeah, but I'm sure it's the weekend now, so I'm sure they won't get back to you until like Monday or something. Because I'm still dying. Are you though? Sometimes I wonder. I'm like, I feel like Kiki's okay now. They said last week, so maybe Thursday or Friday, that you'll be getting an update from them. I hate how some companies are like, they'll be like, oh, we will not send you any, if you do not hear from us, that means you didn't get the position. Like, I hate how some places are like that. And it like makes me angry because it's like, it makes me angry and it makes me like kind of glad if I don't get that position in that job, because it's kind of like, you know, you go through out of your way to like send them the resume, and I'm not sure how it is in America, but in Japan you kind of have to like make each of the resumes like different pretty much for that company. So you're spending time, you know what I mean, to like send this resume to, because you're like interested in this company. So for them to be like, oh, we're so busy, so like if you don't hear from us, then that means you didn't get the part. It's like, at the very least, you can fucking send emails saying like yes or no, you know, like like that's the very least you can do when I took my time out of my busy life to send you this resume. Like, I feel like most places that does that, it's just like they don't have the best reputation. I just want to be an adult. But being an adult sucks, Biggie. I don't recommend it. It's me versus 2 other people, but Biggie, you better put your picture of you sitting on that mountain. And you could be like, I could be sitting on your face if you hired me. Just let that stay in your brain, you know. Why did they even tell you there's competition? Yeah, it's kind of weird. You're like, okay. I guess that's to make it so like if they did like decline you, you could be like, oh, I guess the other people were better. I don't know. I did ask. Oh, you did? You asked? Ooh, I would not ask. There was this one interview I had one time, and I did such a great job in the interview, and even like the person who was holding the interview was saying like so much positive things. And I remember that they sent me an email pretty much saying like, oh, you did not get the job. And I was that one bitch. And I fucking sent them a reply asking like, okay, can you please tell me what the problem was so that way I can improve, you know, from here on out or something like that. I was that bitch. And they did not respond to me. They're probably like, ooh, we dodged a bullet not hiring this person. But I was just so confused because I was just like, it went really well. So I don't understand why, like, I didn't get the position. I asked when I could hear from them, and then they told me more info than ever. Becky would do anything to get that job. He would do anything to get that promotion. Wink, wonk. And they'd be like, oh, anything. He is a young, strapping man. At this point. But you can't show that desperation, Biggie. They'll take advantage of you. That's what companies do. They'll be like, he's too desperate. We can't hire him. And that's when I see that device hanging on his waistband, the one that he'd been using to knock me out. I struggle to pull my foot free of the surprisingly tight embrace of his thighs, while at the same time pulling my hand out of his now limp grasps. I reach for his waist, grabbing the device. Amicus, probably distracted by the unexpected nut shot, doesn't seem to notice, and I finally yank my foot free. As I stumble to my feet, the alien half-heartedly grabs at me, and I struggle against his paws before reaching for his red cape and pulling it over his head. Amicus finally stumbles back, one paw flying to his crotch, the other struggling with his cape as he stays bent over, mouth hanging open, making a weird gasping sound that he was holding his breath. I look at the device in my hand, desperately trying to understand how to use it. A glass panel takes up most of my face of the device like a phone, but two metal prongs stick out on one end. I frantically push at the screen and it comes to life, displaying a vertical bar. About a tenth of it is filled from the bottom with a light blue color. I push at it with my thumb, waiting for something to happen, for electricity to start arcing between the prongs or something. Instead, the bar fills with the slide of my thumb. I push it all the way up until the color turns a dark violet. I hear a snarl and see Amicus finally tear the cape off before he comes at me again. One paw still covering his crotch, the other reaching out for me. I don't have time to think. I just duck under his approaching paw and press the prong as hard as I can into his body. It sinks into his stomach and I hear the wolf makes a huff sound into my ear. There's a pause as nothing seems to happen. Then I press harder and squeeze the device and the result is instant. There's no sound, but Amicus' body seizes violently, shaking as if he's having a seizure. The muscle in his stomach tense hard and push the device back out a few inches. I hold it there, not wanting to let up in case it isn't enough, in case he'll just recover and come at me again. After a few seconds, the wolf's seizing and shuddering stops on its own. I start to pull back and I get a glimpse of Amicus' face. His muzzle hangs open, foam and drool hanging from his chin, his eyes rolling back in his head. I murdered him! It's a scary sight, so I try to back away and Amicus come with me, the contact with the device having been the only thing keeping him balanced. His weight takes me down, and the next thing I know is that I'm flat on my back, struggling to breathe as Amicus' incredible weight crushes me into the metal deck. He practically envelops me with his soft furry body, his big head resting on my chest. I stare down at him, watching as his black lips and eyelid twitch, his tongue hanging out as he makes sporadic snorting sounds. I gasp and strain as I spend the next minute working myself out from under him, grimacing as his foamy drool smears on my chest. Finally, I manage to break free of his dead weight and crawl a few feet away, spending a few moments catching my breath. I look back at his still twitching form, his rump stuck slightly up in the air. I wonder how long I have before he wakes up. There's a long, shiny, tiny cord. There's a long, shiny, thin cord around my leg, wrists, and I start to work at the knot. It's a strange material, smooth and metallic, yet it bends as easily as rope. It's a pain in the ass getting it undone, though. It's like the dumb wolf just put as many knots in it as he could. He probably had no idea what he was doing, and now it makes sense why I was able to get out of it so easily. While I'm undoing the mess, I keep looking over after him. The twitches and snorts are subsiding, which I'm not sure is a good thing or not. Come on. I grunt as I finally pull the last tangle out, straightening the metal rope thing out in both my hands. I look between it and the knocked out wolf in front of me, giving my head a little shake. What the fuck is even happening? I get to work, planting my butt on Amicus's as I pull both of his paws behind his back. What game is this, Kenny? I've never seen this one before. Well, it's a visual novel called Adastra, and I really like this visual novel, and this is kind of the visual novel that kind of helped me get out of my rut I was having for like the past year. And I wanted to share it with my friends because it inspired me to, it inspired me, and I just love everything about it. I love the story, I love the characters, I love the music, so I just wanted to share it. And it has a lot of NSFW scenes, and I just know that if I play this game like later down the road, I'll probably forget where those NSFW scene is, and then if I ever try to stream it, I'll probably get in trouble. But because the game is still like fresh in my mind, I remember where the NSFW scenes are at, so I could cover those parts, and hopefully I won't get in trouble. Yeah, but this story means a lot to me, so I really want to share it with chat with you guys. And if you guys want to watch the NSFW, there are many great resources out there. But honestly, like the sex scene in this, like, it's not as interesting. Will you act the NSFW instead? Aww. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could read it. It should be fine because I feel like it's not as like descriptive. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. I have some difficulty keeping my balance as I lift his heavy arms and start winding the rope around his wrist. I'm not exactly an expert at tying hands behind backs either, but I feel far more confident in my work than Amicus ever should have in his own. I guess his carelessness makes some sort of sense considering I'm a tiny human, he's a giant canine. He probably thought he'd be able to just toss me back in the closet if I got free. I looked over my work, somewhat satisfied with how neat and tight the binding is. I shift and almost slide off the wolf's ass, forcing me to put my hands back and steady myself on his thighs. They're thick and heavily muscled, and that makes me realize that they might also be a problem. While binding his arms is as a start, I have no doubt in my mind he'd be able to take me out with a few nasty kicks. I stand up and start looking around for more of that rope, but that's when I notice something strange happening outside the window. Thin streaks of white light stretch and bend, moving slowly from the front before arcing in long lines to the sides and disappearing from sight. I stare, mesmerized, and suddenly feel sick at the sight. I avert my eyes, looking at the walls while I watch the strange light show out of the corner of my eye. Are those stars? Are we in some sort of wormhole, or what was it called? Hyperspace? I start to get the feeling that I'm very, very far from Earth now, which makes me feel even more sick. I can't wait for the reenactment. Do you guys want to hear me moan? I want to keep my mind off of it, so I set about searching the deck for more of the metal rope, trying to ignore that we might be moving at the speed of light into the depth of space. I don't have much luck. Most everything in the ship is flush to its surface with very few moving parts. I end up going back to the utility closet, and that's when I see that metal polygon with the long cord sticking out of it, the one I knocked off the shelf earlier. I lean over and pull it at it, deciding that it should hold, even if it's more plasticky and not metal. 5 minutes later, and I have his legs bound together. I search around for a taser for another minute before finding it pinned between Amicus's chest and the deck. I'm hot and sweaty as I finally sit back against the opposite wall, staring at the face down wolf and its bindings. You moan all the time. No. So this dude got kidnapped by a hunky furry from outer space. Not that romantic per se. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. It's like so cute and romantic. I love falling in love with my capture. True love. I'm not sure how long it takes. An hour, maybe 2, before Amicus starts to stir. First he groans, then he rolls over a few times, then draws up his bound legs before trying to work his paw free. Finally he opens his eyes, and because he's on his side, I'm the first thing he sees. He squints, frowns, and then groans again, turning over onto his stomach. What the hell? I clear my throat and I swallow, trying not to show how nervous I am. Yeah, what the hell? You tased me again. What? Amicus turns his head to look at me again, then looks away, letting out another groan. Oh, my stomach, what did you do? Exactly what you did to me. I hold up to my taser, turning it in the light so that the wolf can fully see it. Amicus stares at it for a moment before letting his face fall back to the floor of the deck. Oh gods, I feel like I'm on fire. Did you use that full power? What the hell is wrong with you? Despite my fear and anxiety over his entire situation, I'm able to feel indignant. Me? You did the same thing to me, then lied to me, then tased me again, then tied me up. You're crazy. I would never use full power on anyone. Ugh. Amicus seems to ignore my rant as he rolls onto his back, arching over his tied paws, probably stretching out the muscle that I hit with the taser. I wait a while longer, listening to the grunts, groans, and complaints as Amicus continues to whine. I'm not that stupid though. I can tell he's stalling for time, trying to figure out a way to get out of this. I stand up. Take me home. Amicus opens one eye, glaring at me. What? I said take me home. Amicus goes quiet for a moment, his eyes closed, then he forces himself to sit up, visibly cringing as he forced to use his stomach muscle. He scoots back with more complaints until he plants his back against the wall behind him. I see his shoulder shifts, his biceps bulging, and can tell that he's working and testing the restraints. I raise the taser. Stop moving or I'm gonna hit you again. Fuck off. I move towards him, brandishing the taser like a sword. Hey! Amicus kicks his feet up, trying to block my attack. Now I see real fear in his eyes. Then stop moving and tell me how we get back. I don't really want to shock him again. It did look really painful. On top of that, I don't want to knock him out for hours while our little ship is hurtling through space. Amicus glares at me for a moment, his feet still in the air before he slowly lowers them. I'll show you if you let me go. I actually laugh, and the sound seems to startle the wolf. Are you kidding me? Why should I trust you at all after what you've done to me? Amicus' ears flatten. Tell me, where the hell you're taking me and why? Otherwise, I will zap you again. He seems at a loss for words. I can't tell you. I glare, and for a moment I consider just jabbing him again right then and there. Why not? The wolf remains silent as he looks away from me. I feel myself getting even more angry. I'm tired of this alien holding me hostage. Well, I guess I'll just have to figure it out on my own then. I turn away and start moving towards the front of the desk. Amicus shifts around behind me. What? You don't know the first thing about this ship. Don't... The big wolf grunts as he tries to get his feet under him. Don't touch anything. I ignore him and move to the panels, looking them over. The big one in the middle looks promising and start poking at it. I know I won't be able to figure out how to turn the ship around, but the wolf's worry over me touching the panels gives me an idea. I could probably mess things up to the point where he'll have to take me he had to tell me what he's doing, or even how I might be able to get back. There aren't many other options aside from torturing him, something I don't really want to do. The lines in the shape moves with my fingers and Roman numeral pops up randomly here and there. Hey, what are you doing? Amicus huffs and puffs behind me just as circles appears and compresses around my fingers like it's zeroed in on something. I look back to see Amicus hobbling up to his tied together feet, looking just about ready to topple over. You have no idea what... I feel a soft vibration under my finger, not unlike my phone's haptic feedback. Overriding sleep mode, locked on to Stella 556425. No, calm! Stop last directive. Voice commands for pilotings are reserved to the Emperor Amicus. Human, stop! Amicus starts hopping towards me on his bound feet, and I scramble to the side so he doesn't run into me. No, no, no! The boat stares down at the panel and I look out the window as the stars seems to curve all the way to my right, making me feel sick again, and the next thing I know... Ruh-roh! The cabin is lit up by an ominous red glow. The windows suddenly tint, blocking the worst of the light, and that's when I'm able to see a massive ball of fire in front of the ship. The size of it is incredible. Orbital trajectory will intersect with photosphere. Ensure safety straps are in place, making corrective maneuvers. I only have a moment to wonder what the hell Calm is talking about before Amicus and I are thrown sideways into the left window of the ship. The impact is mostly cushioned by Amicus' body, and I hear him yell and curse under me. Move! Get in the seat! I struggle to reach out to the seat in front of me, but I can barely lift my hands. The gravity of the star is so powerful it feels like it's going to suck out my soul. Then I'm suddenly boosted up by something behind me, and I look back, the movement making me feel like my neck is going to break. I see Amicus with his back planted against the window, his feet pushed up to the seat. I manage to grab the armrest and pull myself into it. Now the left armrest is digging painfully into my back, making it feel like as if a professional wrestler is slamming me into a backbreaker. Amicus jumps from the window, high enough that his feet lands against the right side of my chair. Then he jumps again, managing to wedge himself in the footwell of the opposite seat. Heat shields are compromised. Expect heat damage to our outer layer of ship in 30 seconds. With a great deal of snarling and gasping, he pushes himself awkwardly into the seat, both feet planted against the panel in front of him for leverage. He turns to me, teeth bared, a determined look in his eyes. Look at your right armrest. Do you see the green panel between the red buttons? Through the shock, I'm somehow able to understand him and look down. Now drag your finger across it to the left. It will steer the ship. I feel panic starting to rise in my chest at the idea of steering a goddamn spaceship. What? Just do it! Point us away from the star! I do as I'm told, sliding a thumb gingerly over the green panel, and slowly the ship turns, pointing away from the star, shifting the incredible force of gravity until it's pulling us back into the seat. Now see the lever in between us? Yeah. Pull it down. Now reaching my hand out is almost impossible as it gets pulled back towards the stars behind us. Gritting my teeth, I lean forward as hard as I can, practically throwing myself forward and grabbing onto the lever. Then gravity does the rest of the work and the lever comes down hard. I lose my grip and get thrown back into my seat. The gravity increased twofold, and for a moment it feels like my entire body is being crushed into a pancake. And then the burning orange light is gone and the deck goes black. Running diagnostic. Amicus? Yes, calm. Damage to the ship is severe. Recovery mode is required. Enter recovery mode. Standby. We sit in silence for a long time. Alina gets to see with both feet drawn up to my chest, feeling numb and shaky. I also feel stupid, embarrassed, and kind of guilty. On one hand, I nearly just got us both killed. But on the other hand, this crazy alien almost killed me by bringing me here in the first place. At least it feels that way. I still don't know what his ultimate plan is with me. I wonder for the 100th time if I'm going to wake up. I plug my nose and try to breathe through my nostrils. No air comes through. I sigh and look out the window at the blue glow that we found ourselves in. The stars that we just escaped is far away now, though it's still an almost binding tiny orb far to my left, kind of like the sun was not too long ago. It's lighting up all this dust that's around us with an eerie blue glow. It's kind of calming. I look over at Amicus and see him slumped in his chair looking out the window. His shoulders are hunched, ears drooping and his head down. He's on the edge of his seat because his arms are still being tied behind his back, forcing him to lean forward a bit. Calm hasn't spoken since we went into recovery mode, and the ship hasn't moved at all. The usual hum isn't even there. It's like everything's turned off. I finally decide to break the silence. Amicus? I see his ear flick, but he keeps his head down, not even looking at me. I swallow, then try again. Amicus! I see his shoulder rise and fall in deep sigh, but he keeps silent. I'm about to just give up and slump back in my seat when he suddenly responds. What? What's happening? The wolf turns to glare at me. What do you mean what's happening? You broke the ship! He turns away and continues to sulk. I feel a little anger at that, and I realize that this alien isn't alien at all. He's acting just like an upset human kid that didn't get his way. It makes me less afraid of him. Excuse me? Do I have to go through the list of shit that you did to me? Amicus turns to me again, and I can almost see his mind working to think of some sort of comeback. Well, I think you topped it off by nearly throwing us into a star, human. You shouldn't have kidnapped me in the first place, wolf. I should be calling you child, since that's what you are. Well, this child outsmart you, zapped you, and tied you up. Got him. I see him bristle, the hackles rising on his shoulders like a dog. You could have killed me. That setting is meant for the creatures 3 times my size. How was I supposed to know? I don't know anything about what's going on. I told you what's going on. You really think I'm stupid, don't you? Amicus pouts and turns away again. I think you thought I was some stupid alien you could just take advantage of. I can tell you've been lying to me this whole time. Amicus flattens his ears even more, shoulders bunching up. Is that what you and your people do? Kidnapping and lying to everyone you meet? Now his hackles really raises up and he turns on me fast. I try not to lean back. Despite the similarities, he's still a wolf and those teeth are terrifying. I do not lie. The wolf's righteous indignation seems to deflate. The situation is too complicated for you to understand. I glare at him. Who's tied up again? Amicus doesn't take the bait this time and remains slumped. I guess it doesn't matter now. We're probably going to die out here with how badly the ship is burned. That makes my stomach twist a bit. I want to ask him if he's just moping or if he actually thinks we're going to die. But another long moment of silence stretches between us. I look out the window again and at the towering clouds of dust in front of us. Well, if that's the case, then can you just tell me what's going on? Amicus goes on staring out his window. I sigh and lean back, resigned to the idea that I might not ever know why I was dragged out to space to simply get stuck and die in a dust cloud. Then Amicus speaks. I made some mistakes. I glance at him, really not wanting to say anything in case he stops talking. I didn't know your species wasn't part of the Galaxias. It's very illegal to make first contact without authorization from a parent. Parent? The authorities of the galaxy. I frown and Amicus looks at the confusion on my face. How can I put this simply? There are 3 levels in the Galaxias. At the very tops are the parents. They arrive from beyond our galaxy to spread their cultures here. Amicus glances at me. You know what a galaxy is? That there are others outside of our own? Yeah. Amicus lets out a breathy chuckle. Of course.
I probably should have expected that. So you must know then that the intergalactical travel is incredibly advanced, almost godlike, and that's what they are. Gods. There are 8 of them. They are still present in our galaxy, though they are rarely communicate with us these days. Then there are siblings. That's what my species is part of. The galaxy was scoped out by the parents at the very start to find the most intelligent and capable species. Then each selected one, and we were the one chosen and uplifted by the Romanus. The note of pride in Amicus' voice is obvious. From then on, it has been our mission to increase intelligence in the promising species and to teach them our philosophies and cultures to uplift. I try to make sense of that in terms I can understand. So you spread their cultures for the parents. They're like your gods, and your species are like missionaries? Amicus shrugs. Yeah, sort of like that. That doesn't sound so great, especially when I compare it to things that have happened on Earth. Mass galactic assimilation. So why are they doing this? And if they got here at the same time and did the same thing, does that mean they're working together? Amicus shakes his head. We don't really know all of the reasons for what the parents do, but we compete with the other siblings. But that brings me to the rest of the sapiens in the galaxy, the children. The siblings uplift these children and bring them into our fold under the direction of our parents. Again, they haven't told us exactly what's going on, but we came to the conclusion that it's some sort of competition and we mean to win for our parents. So, I'm a child? Well, no, not really. I've been calling you that, but you're not part of the Galaxis, and that's where I made my mistake. Are we feeling this man? Leah, he kidnapped us and he tased us twice, and he's not taking us back home. So, yeah, we love him. I smell love. Tee. Stockholm syndrome. They're the best. Actually, I'm gonna go pee. But yeah, I'm probably gonna read for maybe like 30 more minutes, and then we could play some games. Cause Kiki was here. Hopefully she's still here. Let me go pee. I'm gonna fall asleep. Well, just wait 30 more minutes. Then I can end it in a good part. It's like listen to a bedtime story. Is my voice soothing? La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hey Bowser. Thanks for the kisses. Okay, I need to hurry before Key goes to sleep. Well, no, not really. I've been calling you that, but you're not part of the Galaxis, and that's where I made my mistake. I see you everywhere. Why are you stalking him, Biggie? Like I said, it was illegal for me to contact you, but I didn't know. How did you not know that? Shouldn't you have a record of this type of stuff? That's the confusing part to me. I found Earth in the library, so there was record of it, but there wasn't much. Just a few footnotes about a sapient species there. Because they're a celebrity? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, time for me to stalk Bowser too. But because that record exists, I know that your species was uplifted to child status at some point. In Rome? Presumably, but sometimes a species is unable to be uplifted for different reasons. Too aggressive, too docile, too unintelligent. Amicus glances at me. I thought this is what happened to your species. Then, if we've been uplifted, doesn't that mean that you've already made first contact? Yes, but you're still not part of the Galaxis. That's why I made the mistake. You should know about it, but you don't. Knowledge of other intelligent life is sacred, and for whatever reason, your species lost it. Does this this vegan only has one love interest. So I feel like it's, compared to Nekojishi, it's, the story is much better because you're only focusing on one. So my love interest in this game is this wolf. My capture. And while Uplift has been cancelled with species in the past, we don't completely cut off contact. They're permanently part of the Galaxis. I've never heard of something like this happening before, so I panic. Calm. Cute. But it gets better though, it really does. Please believe me. But right now, like, me and him, we have like no love interest for each other at the moment. Amicus glances at the ceiling. Wasn't able to tell me that until you connected to your Nexus. Nexus? It's early stuff. Yeah, we could change him. Another word that doesn't translate. Like the technology that connects places, people, information, the internet, if that's your word for it. So I tried to understand everything I'm being told. Why didn't you just tell me that all this before you kidnapped me or knocked me out? I see Amicus' ear flattens and he looks away, clearly ashamed. I don't know. I didn't fully understand the intelligence of your species yet. I thought I could just lead you to believe that things. I don't say anything and Amicus shifts uncomfortably. Leaving on Earth after you saw me, you might have gone to the authorities on your planet with the knowledge which might have led you to a monitor being alerted. Amicus answers my question before I can ask. Monitors are basically the ears and eyes of the parents. They monitor the galaxy. And what happens if they're alerted? Amicus sighed deeply. I don't know. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I don't think anyone has ever broken this particular law. It's one of the most important laws we are supposed to follow, knowing I've broken it. Amicus pauses. Scared you? Amicus shakes his head but doesn't say anything. I try to piece all this together in my head. So then you panicked and kidnapped me? It was either that or kill you or leave you in the hope for the best, but that was a risk that I felt I couldn't take at the time. Amicus seems to shrink in his seat. And I guess I just didn't want to tell you because I knew I disrupted your life in a terrible way. I thought I might be able to make you forget and want to stay with me if you saw my home. But why? Why did you do it in the first place? What do you want from me? Amicus looks at me for a long while, probably debating on how much to tell me then he turns away. I needed a pet. What? Excuse me? Amicus shrinks up even more in his chair. It's a very long story. I glare at the back of his head. Well, if we're going to be here a while, then I have time. Amicus goes on staring out the window. My father was the emperor. The throne was mine to take, but my brother has challenged me, so now we're both competing for it. Amicus looks at me in the corner of his eyes for my reaction. His expression tells me I should be impressed, but learning he might be an influential figure among his people doesn't really seem too crazy after the events of the past day or so. And getting a pet will help you? How? My brother has a sibling species, which means that his pet is on the same level of the hierarchy as us. I frown. Oh, and that's unusual? Definitely. It shouldn't even be legal, but somehow he negotiated it. They signed a contract and everything. I shake my head. So what does having a pet do? Amicus shrugs. It's a good status symbol to have. The fact that my brother was able to obtain such a prestigious pet shows his skills at negotiating and has put me at a huge disadvantage. I needed to do something even more grand to impress my father's advisor. He's the one that would choose between us. By kidnapping me, Amicus growls. That wasn't part of the plan. I thought you know that what I was and amazed at the wolf that had come back to your species. I was going to make a deal with you like my brother did with his pet. I want a sapien that no one has seen in a long time. Used as a political tool. I know. Oh my gosh, I'm so fabulous, you know. I have that effect on people. People just want to make me their trophy wife. So that's the struggle. I'm here to be used as some pawn in some power struggle in some alien empire far away. So why can't you take me back? What if I promise not to say anything? I would take you back if I could. I realize now that would have been the better option, but I can't. Why not? First of all, the ship might be damaged beyond repair. Secondly, there isn't enough power to get back there. Earth was on the outer reach of how far I could travel. I need a rest to return home. I managed to stop myself from telling the wolf that's all this is his fault and shouldn't be my problem at all. Well, can we get more power when we get back to your home, then go back to Earth? No. It's a type of power that the parents produce. We're not able to harness it yet. So get more from them, from wherever you got the power in the first place. Amicus leans his head against the headrest. Our parents authorized and distributed it, and for whatever reason they stopped supplying it when we lost our emperor. I feel myself growing more and more frustrated. Then how the hell are you using it now? A moment of silence goes by. This was my father's ship. Only the emperor has constant access to the technology. I borrowed it to get to you. I glare at him. You mean stole it? You know you're pretty dishonest for someone who says they never lie. Another soft rumbling growls from him. Times are desperate. Ask your dad to take me back then. If you didn't gather from earlier, he's dead, so no one has access to it right now. I'm just using up what was left. I stare at Amicus for a while, words failing me. Listen, I didn't want to do all these things I did to you. I'm protecting us both. I laugh. Oh, really? Yes, I was planning to bring you to the palace to live a good life and forget your old one. Then when you started asking those questions, I realized your intelligence is much higher than I thought it would be. That Calm thought you might attack me. I made mistakes. Amicus let out another huge sigh and slumps in the seat, looking away. Several minutes go by in silence, both of us staring out into the eerie blue. So what now? What are your plans? Amicus is the one to laugh this time. Get out of these bonds if you let me. I look at him incredulously. Amicus sighs. Listen, you have no idea how to handle the ship. I can at least run diagnostics to see what we can do about this. What's to stop you from knocking me out again? If you don't attack me or hit me with that nervo again, then I won't have to. I looked to my left armrest and picked up the little taser device. This? Amicus eyes uneasily. Yeah. How can I trust you after everything that happened? I give you my word. I frown. And you could go back on it just as easily. I would never do that. I don't make promises lightly, Kenny. Amicus is so indignant that I actually believed him. Or he's a really good actor. Either way, I'm going to have to let him go at some point, especially if we really can't get back to Earth. So I make my decision. If I let you go, you have to find a way for me to get back to Earth. Amicus thinks for a moment. I can do that if I become Emperor. And how long would that take? Amicus shrugs. A few months if it all goes well. With your help, it could even go faster. You're very clever, more intelligent than some wolves I know, even. Months? My parents are probably freaking out by now. School starts in a few weeks. All these things seem so distant now. Amicus frowned. I'm sorry, but I can't do anything. I need to be an emperor to even talk to the parents. I think, but again, I don't have many options. I look Amicus in the eye. You promise? You have my word. For a moment, I sit there contemplating. Then I sit up straight. Alright, stand up. Amicus perks up and hops to the bound feet, almost falling over. I'm sure to place the nervo close by behind me just in case. A few minutes later and the wolf is free. We both regard each other wearily for a few moments before Amicus finally sighs. Listen, I have no reason to incapacitate you now that you know everything, but if it makes you feel better, you can hang on to that nerve until we get to Adastra. That's a fair exchange. I look back at the little device. While I have little reason to trust Amicus, the wolf has virtually no reason to trust me. I consider it and shake my head. Can we put it away somewhere? I'd rather just not be thinking about it. Amicus looked at me in surprise, then rubs his stomach where I jabbed him. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a deal to me. Amicus held out a paw, and I looked down at the thick, black pads on his fingers and palms before picking up the nerve and handing it to him carefully. For a moment, I imagined him immediately turning the thing around and jabbing it into my face, but instead he turns and walks towards the back of the ship. I notice his stance is slightly bow-legged, and he adjusts himself a few times. That makes me feel a little guilty about fighting her dirty earlier, but only a little. On his way, he sweeps up his cape in one fluid motion before wrapping it around his shoulder. Then he moves to the back wall, and sticking out a paw, he presses a panel and a small portion of the wall slides back, revealing another smaller room. From where I can see what looks like a little cot and the various cupboards. He opens one of these and places the nervo inside before shutting it. He comes back out and notices me staring. That's my quarters, is where I sleep. If you need to urinate or whatever else you do, there's a toilet in there. I'm fine for now. I feel my stomach gurgle, something that it's been doing for a while now. I am a little hungry though. Amicus raises the brow. You want to try it again? Sure. It's not the worst food I've ever had. The earthy smell translating to the taste, but there's a strange hint of sweetness to it, like chocolate that makes it a little more palatable. I can at least swallow it down without gagging, so that's good, I guess. I'm a good boy. I swallow without gagging. Amicus has his own cup, though he's paying more attention to the panels than to his food. I may have been exaggerating. Oh, thanks for the hydrate.
From mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born.
I hope we get to play FF14 again, Biggie. I may have been exaggerating a bit earlier. Damage appears to be minimal. We're actually lucky that you didn't lock onto something. Worse, like a pit. There was one very near that star. A pit? Amicus shrugs, waving his hand in the air, as if brushing my questions aside. A very strong gravitational singularity that sucks everything up around it. Like a black hole. Black hole? Like, its gravity is so powerful that even light gets pulled into it. That's why they're black. Amicus looks at me in surprise. Oh, you know what that is? Guess I should stop being surprised, honestly. You humans are really something. You basically uplifted yourself. I shrug. We touched on it in my Astronomy 101 class. I don't know much about them. But the fact that your species found out about them in the first place. Anyway... Amicus presses the button before suddenly the hum of the ship comes back to life. System back online. And Amicus pulls the lever and suddenly the blue disappears and the windows are filled with the warping stars again. I immediately looked away, feeling the chocolate and mud starts to work its way up my throat. We were actually almost at Adastra when you took control. Amicus rubs the side of his neck, wincing as he stretches it out. Should be there fairly soon. What is this? I have my hand at the window, not looking. The bending lights. It's the stretch drive. Basically, space is being shortened ahead of us. Amicus puts his paws close together in front of himself and stretched out behind us. Amicus stretches his paw up. I don't really know how it works. Only the parents can build this kind of tech, and it's the only way I could get to Earth, or anywhere outside our star systems, really. They even figured out a way to make time stay still around us when we travel. Otherwise, way too much time would have passed back home. Why is my keyboard not working? No. I'm starting to get a picture of how powerful these parents actually are, being capable of warping space and time to their will. So, how much more time? Arriving at Stella Villa. And just like that, the star becomes still again. Amicus grins. Welcome to Adastra, Kenny. I look out the window and see a large green and blue sphere shimmering below me. Beyond, there's another globe. This one's chalky and gray. A smaller and even brighter orb floats further to the right, its color almost pure white. Amicus points at the more Earth-like sphere. That specifically is Adastra. The planet to the left is Amicus. There aren't many people there aside from miners. The smallest is Torque, another moon. I know you live on a planet, so Adastra might seem a bit small to you. I press a hand to the window and notice that it's ice cold. Looks pretty big from here. Amicus leans over to the console and starts touching at the screen. Re-entry sequence engaged. Go ahead and put your safety straps on. Re-entry is never comfortable in a smaller ship. I hurriedly do as he says, sitting down and trying to figure out the seatbelt. Eventually, Amicus has to come over and help, showing me how the strap just feeds into the slot. This automatically pulls the strap tightly across my waist and chest. As Amicus gets in his own seat, we start to curve around to the darker side of Adastra. Okie dokes. Every now and then there's a bit of downward tug on my stomach, sort of like when the passenger jet I was in when landing in Rome. It's Jover. I'd imagine that things would rattle around, along with a bunch of fire and heat like in a Hollywood movie. Instead, there's only a rumbling sound that accompanies a gentle vibration through the seat. There isn't any fire, but I do start to see blue flashes on the other side's otherwise black windows. I look over at Amicus and see that he's got his eyes closed, looking relaxed. The wolf opens his eyes and smiles gently at me. Don't worry, this is all normal. I realize how nervous I must look, so I nod and lean my head back into the seat. The electric blue flashes stop after a while, and then I feel one final downward pull on my body before the rumbling fades out. We sit in a complete silence and darkness for a moment before I hear Amicus moving next to me. Okay, we're in a hangar right now. Just follow me into the palace. Amicus gets up, but the ship stays dark. So does the hangar. Okay, why aren't there any lights? Everyone's probably asleep. I don't want to wake them up. I get the feeling that he just doesn't want anyone to catch us, but I don't say anything. I fiddle with my seatbelt, unable to get it undone until I feel Amicus lean over me, breathing in my ear as his large paw covers mine, pressing something that releases the strap. I stand up, feeling around blindly as I hold onto the seat, only barely able to make out the red bristles of the headrest in front of me. I reach out a hand. Hey. Amicus' rough paws envelop my hands. What's wrong? I can't see anything. Oh, can you not see in low light? Amicus starts pulling me along before I hear a soft beep, then a whooshing sound. Not really. Another sound catches my attention. Crickets. They have crickets here too? At the same time, I'm hit by a wall of humid warmth, almost like walking into a sauna. Amicus puts a paw against my chest. Wait a second. Then I hear a soft thud followed by a grunt. Hello? Okay, so I guess I'll just save. We'll save and we'll come back to this. I think I'll stream tomorrow, so I'll do this tomorrow if you guys are interested. Make sure to hit that notification bell. Make sure to subscribe, like and subscribe. And push on that notification bell for any updates on new Adastra streams. And if you can't catch the stream, you can always catch the VOD.